started.
Feels like a while since you've done any recording, isn't it?
It's been
What
a
was the
little
last thing you
while.
recorded?
Well, the last thing I recorded was actually our D&D session. That's been it. Oh no,
Oh, right,
and
well.
the Overwatch event. But I haven't
Oh, you
edited
did do
it.
that,
I've
yeah.
just kind of pulled away from the YouTube for a little bit, take a bit of a breather and kind of start afresh, shall I say.
Yeah.
Coming at it a little different because I was doing videos 6 days a week.
Jesus.
And we've got like 125 people that subscribe to the channel. So I thought the workload, you can sit there and you can throw as much shit at the wall, but nothing will just kind of sink in. So
well, I sometimes feel like that about my reviews. Like, I know I don't do 6 a week. Well, no, I've never done 6 a week.
You do a fair chunk. I go on
Yeah.
there and I always see draft after draft and I'm like, holy shit, this man's been busy.
Well, I enjoy it. I think it's nice to vent your opinions and stuff. So
Yeah, that's what I love doing about it, and I will also try and jump into that next year. I was thinking of maybe doing something a little bit different, where I do a bit of a news roundup at the end of the week. A bit like I did with the loot crates. I did an actual unboxing and face to a camera sort of thing. So I was wondering about maybe jumping in with something like that. I cancelled my order, but there is potentially still one on its way. I'm not quite sure. Because I cut it off just after the payment date. So it's a bit iffy on that aspect. But yeah, hopefully next year we'll be trying a few different things across the platforms. I hope to do a little bit more funny compilations rather than just huge let's plays where I force myself to play a game once or twice a week. So I
love buying you games and having to play.
Well, no, that's fine because they were just me shouting at something and getting irate. But there was some series like the RimWorld stuff that I did where it was like I was churning them out kind of so I could have a video out on the day rather than I was actually enjoying it. Like as much as those games you sent me pissed me off, I was just I kind of enjoyed just shouting and having a go at something that was just really shit. You know, you can just dig into it like, wow, this is shit, and you just tear it apart as if it's just some sort of dead carcass and you just beat at it.
I loved it. The memes.
That was the fun part. Yeah, and then you had the sort of memes, the stupid shit you could do, and then the Overwatch videos that we've done.
They were good. I enjoy those.
The Overwatch videos I loved because they were like a compilation of things and they were just generally quite funny. And I'd like to put a lot more effort in that and maybe do some more CSGO ones. Because those CSGO ones, they are probably some of the best edited and funniest content I think I've done. Apart from the most recent couple of Overwatch ones with Torbjorn shouting slag at people.
Slag!
It was rather amusing. Speaking of Overwatch, though, have you played Overwatch since then?
No, I haven't.
God
no,
fucking damn it, man!
That's my New Year's resolution, trust me.
My New Year's resolution is to sometime try and play Overwatch.
I did find it the other day. It was in my brother's room, out of the case, which I was quite upset about. So hopefully it still works. But I will. I promise. I promise I will watch it.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, it's a verbal contract.
Amidst the 100 watt films I try and watch, I will definitely.
Wow, yeah. You've seen a lot this year, haven't you?
I think this year's the most I've seen since I've started doing it.
Yeah.
I can't say how many. Well, I've got an Excel sheet of like all the ones I've done and then rated. Only because it's easy to. Well, it's easy to keep because like some I see in advance, so then I forget what I've rated it. And
I would love to see that.
I just send it to you.
Sheer curiosity, yes. Just whack it in the Discord because that would be really quite interesting to see.
I've got this year's, last year's, and 2015's, I think.
Fucking hell, this man's efficient.
Oh yeah, man.
Jesus, okay. Puts me to shame. That's my fucking website. Shit. God damn it. Oh, fuck.
And I can tell you what the first film I ever reviewed
Have you ever watched? I thought, what would you ever watched?
I know the first film. I was 2 years old. No.
The first film I ever watched in the cinema was Jurassic Park 3, I think. That's the first one I remember watching as a kid.
Oh, as a kid, sorry, I thought you were on about reviewing. I was like, we
no.
ain't been up that long.
Well, the first one on my little spreadsheet was The Theory of Everything. You know, that Stephen Hawking thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first one.
I can't remember. I think the first one I did was kind of a news thing, and then I did like a review of it. Was
yeah.
The first article that went up was was it Oblivion?
Oh yeah, the Tom Cruise film. That's good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I still look back at that and think that was a pretty cool movie. I don't know whether it's aged well at all, but
I think the director did something really strange this year. Let me just Google that. Joseph Kosinski. What did he do?
Fuck no.
Oh no. What did he do? He did something this year, I swear. Oh yeah, he did Only the Brave, which I enjoyed. That firefighter film.
Is that the one with Mark Wahlberg?
No, it's the one with Jeff Bridges and what's his bloody name? Josh Brolin, about the hot shots, aren't they? And it's the forest fires in California.
I'm not sure about
It came out with Miles Teller, isn't it, as well? It came out about a couple of months ago.
I seem to remember you mentioning something about it when we last spoke.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
No, I've been just completely devoid of the cinema, really. I think we've only seen a few things, and I've really been meaning to kind of nail down Doctor Strange so I can go see Thor, and then I can actually go see The Last Jedi. I'd like to go see that soon.
The Last Jedi, yes.
It's just I can't afford it at some points. Yeah, but fucking hell, you've got some commitment there, and
I know.
I am very, very happy that you do, and I'm very happy. I'm very proud.
I enjoy it. I'm not.
That sounds like you're gonna sit there with a tear in your eye.
So proud of you, Dad.
They grew up so fast.
I've not got to the stage where I feel like I'm getting bored of it now. I still really enjoy it. So yeah, I'll keep on doing it. It's good fun.
Fair play. So this is kind of going to be like our sort of year in review, shall we say?
Have we started?
Oh yeah, I've been recording this whole thing.
Shit! I was just rambling.
That's
what we do.
Essentially what we do.
That's very true.
We're a little rusty as we've not done it in like 8 weeks, but still.
It's like riding a bike, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. Josh can just waffle on for ages about nothing. Or he can just incite anger.
One of my many born gifts.
It's just a natural trait.
Just how to piss people off. Or Pete off anyway.
Yeah, probably. I say, well, let's start with where can we start? Has everyone seen The Walking Dead mid-season finale?
No, but I saw.
Thank God someone else hasn't.
I saw the spoilers written all over Facebook, which it's just naughty, but it was quite hard to miss because every other thing was, this has happened, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, I don't even need to watch it now. But there's been a lot of backlash, hasn't there? Because obviously I've never read the comic.
There's been a lot, and it doesn't fit with the comics. I'll just put that out there. I kind of went, what the fuck? And it's a moment where you go, well, when the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, I can imagine.
And the Reddit for it is just slagging off that this is going to be the sort of the end of The Walking Dead. It's only going to be maybe another season after this, and that'll be it. And we'll see the end of it.
The showrunner was saying he's going to do it for like 20 odd years. I know it didn't mean just the main series; it meant like the spin-offs as well. But
don't know. I still really haven't got into the Fear of the Walking Dead, but I've heard it got consistently better as it's gone through.
Yeah, I think I watched the first series and then kind of stopped. But I mean, I say this to everyone who asks me about The Walking Dead. I feel like I'm watching it out of not of an enjoyment factor, more of like a necessity because I've watched it for so long now. I still enjoy it, but it's
kind
nothing.
Of that element, yeah, because I've not actually, because I record it because I'm working on Monday night, so typically I miss it.
Yeah.
And as of late, I don't know whether it's because we've been jumping down the rabbit hole and just playing so many different games over the last couple of months that I've just kind of I've not jumped to it. I've not gone, oh, I
No.
need to watch it.
No,
I'm
exactly.
not really feel like I'm being pulled towards it. As much as I
Mm.
love the show and I love Negan, I love Rick, and I love the whole cast in general, some of it just feels like it just doesn't have that pull. And it's
No.
kind of sad, especially for this season, which is supposed to be, well, in the comics, it's such an epic series of events that goes on, and the clashes and the just general character backstories that are developed. It is all very good and very concrete, but
It just seems lazy at times. Like some of the writing is just baffling.
yeah, and
I don't-
Eugene, I'm sorry, but
it,
Eugene is grinding my gears.
oh, he's just annoying.
I just don't
I,
get, I just don't get it, and I
is
don't
he?
get.
Is he? Is he as allegorical as he is in the series? Like he always goes into like a massive talk about something. It
It
just
just
seems.
devolves into like several different things to get to
I
one
know
point. Yeah,
it seems
no,
like a
he's
caricature of what he was. It's just it's really strange.
in
I
the
don't know if
comics
that's
he is a very intellectual man, but he's also, I'm just going to throw this out there, he's not with the Saviors. He never worked for the Saviors.
all right. So
So
is he
it's
always
just
on the good
completely,
side?
he was always on, he's always been with Rick.
It kind of makes sense that I kind of when he did go to the dark side as it was, I kind of that kind of did make sense because he is a wussy character, isn't he? And he
Yeah, but you
the
had
whole
all of that development that just seemed like, oh yeah, he's on the straight and narrow. He's going to do everything he can for for the memory of Abraham. He's going to try and help everyone. And now you look at him and you go, well, what's gone on?
but then the whole thing about him with Abraham was, if you remember back, like the whole thing about him being with
Abraham was
him,
protecting him.
yeah, because he thought he had a cure for the actual zombie virus thingy.
Yeah, but you had eventually later on in the series, you had that development where he wasn't going to be a coward anymore, where
Mm.
he was able to kind of fight and fend for himself, and then he's just devolved again, and they've just completely gone, no, fuck that story arc. She's just going to be an endless pussy. It's just like, ugh, Jesus.
Mm.
It would have been
Yeah,
so nice to have had
it's very
Eugene
strange.
play a more pivotal role on the good side.
I don't think much has happened in 8 episodes. I mean, if you think it's just
No,
the only
no.
episode, the
Now
only
I
the
look
only
back at
episode,
it, no, not much has happened.
the only episode I thought was actually pretty good was the old the tiger being killed.
Oh, that was that was horrible.
I know, and that's actually the first time in a while I've actually been emotionally engaged in it, and I thought
Yeah,
it's a goddamn tiger, but it worked for some reason, and that it's kind of a weird backwards weakness. If the only emotionally engaging character is a bloody CGI tiger, it just
no,
seems like
I felt for Ezekiel in that as well,
kind, yeah, I suppose.
but yeah, it was quite a horrific scene, and they actually did the comic justice there. It's exactly how that happened, but Ezekiel was a bit more of a badass in the comics,
Mm.
mainly
Oh,
because
really?
it's the comic sort of superhero. They can kind of get away with that. Like he just fights like fucking, I'm gonna chop these bastards down. In this, you physically had people pulling him away, and he was in a sort of mental break. But
Mm.
no, yeah, I can see that very little has kind of happened. It's been what 8 episodes, and we've gone
We've
three
gone from a
days. It
war
feels like it's
to
been like
a
three
war.
days.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
And it's just like that is an awfully elongated 3 days.
And I think it has to change because I don't think it's been positively reviewed by a lot of people. I don't think, especially fans who have been with it since the start. Obviously, there's a difference between comic readers and then just a TV reader. Same as in the Game of Thrones about the book readers and the TV series watchers. It just seems that not only do they need to resort to the fan service, they just need to make it a decent show again. Like, so
Yeah,
there was an article that says, well, soon in the next year or so, you'll have a Netflix based zombie program, and it will just be the next best thing, and then Walking Dead will be the second hand show again because they need to make it like it originally was. And it's
yeah,
strange.
they need.
You look
Yeah,
at John Bernthal and how great he was. You look at him now, where he is Punisher, which is an excellent series, and it just seems like it's missing. It is missing a John Bernthal kind of character. It's missing that kind of spark. It needs a change.
It's
Whereas all the
missing
new
something. I don't know whether it's just character based, because when you had Carol in sort of full beast mode, that was awesome. And I think that was one of the reasons people kind of came back for it. And then I think they might be trying it with Morgan, but that's not going to be happening until the second part, and it's kind of devolving there as well. There is something. It doesn't have that kind of magic that it did last season. That's for sure.
I mean, even last season at times it was a bit of a drag, but it was good. I mean, this series, I wouldn't say it's the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just lazy. I think. I don't know if it's production, if it's costs, if it's the showrunner. It's just very strange, and it needs to change.
Well, we know AMC are being skimpy little bastards with it. We know the budget is tight, and they're not giving them any more money. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a slight issue, but it doesn't excuse sort of a poor story in many cases.
No, it doesn't.
What do you think, Josh? You've been awfully quiet.
It's been very quiet, yeah.
I'm half invested and half not. Obviously, I haven't caught up with the Walking Dead, but I always thought Walking Dead was best in its first original couple of seasons, where even the walkers themselves you were terrified of. But now that everyone can pretty much headshot them, even like non-important characters can headshot them with relative ease, they don't seem so much of a threat anymore. So it kind of takes away from the general thinking like, oh shit, here comes the horde. Well, they can all control the horde now. Just right ahead of it with a motorcycle, and there's no threat really. I don't really feel that it's that kind of element of the show is taken away. It just seems like a kind of like a rival group against another rival group, really kind of show.
It's not really a.
It's not a
horror.
No, it's not horror. There's no fear in it anymore. I mean, I'm always surprised. Do you remember when the season 1 there was like the dogs and stuff? Like a stray pack of dogs, and they were like running. They had to get around that or somehow.
I think that was in season 3.
That was season 3. But, I mean, they don't have things like that anymore. And
I
mean, we could mix it up a bit, like of different kinds of walkers or things that are a bit unusual. And there's no plot development. And obviously, there was always the fear that they got to find out what caused the outbreak or how to cure it or anything. Nothing like that anymore. So we'll just try and beat up the rival group. It's all right. It's cool, but it gets old after a while.
Yeah, it's becoming more of a almost sort of an action drama rather than a.
Yeah, I mean the characters are cool, and that's always cool to watch, and that never gets old. But it needs a bit more than just cool characters.
There's just no end game. I mean, if you look at the big series, I mean, even AMC, I think they had Breaking Bad, and there was always an end game with Breaking Bad. I don't think you've seen it, but
I know he had cancer, and I'm presuming he's dead.
Well, spoilers, but you always knew what was going to happen.
Spoilers, he's got cancer, he's dead.
And the whole beauty of it was that you knew what was going to happen. It was just watching how to get there. Whereas Walking Dead, I really don't have a clue where it's going to go. But
yeah, you can kind of call it a bit. Well, not 100%. There's always the odd thing that happens, but generally you can say, okay, well, he's going to die, or
well, it's like Game of Thrones. Like we know eventually someone will have to take the Iron Throne. And the end game is going to be either it's going to be a bad person on it or a good person.
Yeah.
Whereas Walking Dead, I don't know what the showrunners are planning, but I'm not running it.
We'll just have to wait and see till February when it comes back.
Indeed, yes. Birthday time, I think it comes back.
Yeah. Oh, it just doesn't fill me with sort of excitement, which is kind of a shame.
I think that's why I haven't been keeping up with it so much, that it just feels like, okay, it's cool, it's on, but it's nothing that's making me think, I wanted to see what happens next week.
Yeah, like, oh my god!
Oh my god, he did what? Holy shit!
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, let us move on.
Indeed.
Should we move on to some of your movies of the year, Dan? Because I have shit all helped you here.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how many you've actually seen that are in. What should I do? Top 10
We'll go for a top 5 sort of
Oh,
thing.
a top 5. All right, I need to get on my thingy. 1 second.
All right, let me just get my Excel spreadsheet out.
No, it's all the list is now on the website. I think I've done a top 20. I've done one part and then a second part. I'm going to cheat because number 5. Well, I'll do a top 6 because number 6 is pretty cool. So I'll start with 6. So I'll start
with 7.
I think it should be honourable
Let's just
mentions.
go to 10.
There's about 40 honourable mentions. No, I'm not. I'll tell you the big ones at the moment. So, so 15. I'll do 15. Well, I won't do all 15. I'll start.
Oh my god, really on.
So just to let you know, Star Wars is 15th.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And I put Logan as 11th, and I'll now do my top 6. So 6 is it. Only because, obviously, you know, I'm a massive Stephen King fan anyway. And although it might not be the best Stephen King film, obviously you got like The Shining and other things, Shawshank Redemption, all that kind of thing. You think of as like the big Stephen King adaptations, but I think it is the closest Stephen King adaptation. I mean, The Shining, the film's nothing like the book, apart from the fact it's got the Torrance family and the Overlook Hotel, whereas it's just, I mean, it's his best book and it's arguably the best Stephen King film. And I think Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is absolutely terrifying. Have you seen the image? Have you seen any photos?
I've seen photos.
He's just so fucking creepy.
And I've seen some clips of it, and it's just like, no, thank you.
And he is absolutely brilliant. And I mean, it is a horror, but it's also a horror adventure. And there's obviously with Stranger Things coming out, it's obviously got that Stranger Things kind of feel to it with the young kids and the horror element, etc. But it's brilliant, and the kids are all fantastic. It's jumpy, and it's everything I wanted in an adaptation of it. So that's number 6. Number 5 is probably one thing you haven't seen, which is Manchester by the Sea. And Casey Affleck won the Best Actor, I think, at the Oscars for it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. And he also got accused of sexual assault lately as well, hasn't he?
Yes. Well, a bit of a tangent. That whole thing is annoying because although he got, I think it went to court and it was all finalised, this sexual harassment thing. I think he was blamed, but he was eventually, I think he paid his dues. I think he either paid a settlement or something. So it's old history now.
Yeah.
When they brought it all up, it was like, well, that's like saying Roman Polanski is a sex pest. Well, he is because he got convicted, but he still makes films. And like Beethoven and all these famous people. I mean, even David Bowie. It's like you read like the unconfirmed reports of him, and it's like, oh, I don't want to know. So Casey Affleck, the sex pest, in Manchester by the Sea,
Oscar winner.
Exactly. And then the next Oscar winner, number 4 is Moonlight, which obviously won the Best Picture of everything that happened at La La Gate or whatever they're calling it, where La La Land got called, and then it was actually Moonlight that won. First time I watched Moonlight, I didn't really get it, and then ever since I watched it the second time, and then the third time in the cinema, because originally I didn't watch it in the cinema, I just watched it on my laptop because they didn't show it. And I think after it won the Best Picture, they then decided, oh, we'll show it, and it's really great. It's an independent, all ethnic minority cast with see if I can pronounce his name. I think it's Mahershala Ali, who won the Best Supporting Actor, and I knew him from House of Cards. He's also in Luke Cage, and he's really good. And it's just a really lovely film, coming of age film. Three acts. You've got the young kids, teenager kids, and then adult kids, and it's really great. So that's 4. 3 up at Dunkirk.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a massive Nolan fan, and Dunkirk it's just something else. I mean,
it was very good.
The spectacle is just.
The only gripe I had with it was more that it didn't feel like it had scale.
I don't know.
I mean, on the beaches, when it went over the soldiers, it just didn't feel. You had 400,000 people on the beach, and it looked like 400. It just didn't have that sort of grand scale that I think would have really kind of cemented that. But
I mean, I didn't mind that. I mean, he obviously he does use CGI, but he prefers to have the practicality.
Yeah, he did the whole thing without CGI, didn't they?
Exactly. So I'd rather him do that and it look fantastic. I mean, the fact that he put an IMAX camera in a Spitfire, it's just it's just bonkers, and it's just brilliant. And then when I first watched it, it was very strange because obviously it's got the free time structures. I think it's 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and it's kind of got like that Memento Inception thing where it's all intertwined, and you got to work out, oh, that bit's from earlier on, that plane is Tom Hardy from earlier on.
Yeah.
And it's an unbelievable film. It's literally just come out on Blu-ray, and I haven't seen it on the small screen, but on the big screen, it's it's something.
Yeah, it was. I took my mum, and she's very much into World War history and all that sort of stuff. Has recently come back from a holiday over from seeing the Somme and all this sort of stuff. And fuck me, I pulled her out there. She was bawling her bloody eyes out halfway through it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's an incredible movie.
It is.
It
It's
really
just the whole. Obviously, the IMAX camera makes it look absolutely fantastic anyway. But the sound of the movie is literally the loudest film I've ever seen.
And
I mean, the
sound of that
gunshots.
Spitfire though.
Oh,
Oh,
it's just
the
crazy.
Messerschmitt engine just woof. She's like, oh, wow.
I know, it's unbelievable. The first scene where the young lad is in the streets of France, and then it's all quiet, and then you suddenly hear that vroom, the bullets, and I shit you not, I jumped out of my seat because I thought, my God, this is loud. But no, absolutely fantastic. So what's number 2? The number 2 is Blade Runner 2049, which is an interesting film because it cost about 200 million to make or something. It only made about 350 million, which is probably not the best because I think you need to double your revenue in order to make a successful profit. But I mean, the original Blade Runner is one of my favorite films of all time. And
yeah, I think it's got the sort of cult back into it though, because obviously
it does.
You've got the first one. It's going to be one of those that kind of last.
Yeah. Oh my God, is it going to last? I mean,
yeah.
The fact that I think it's, who would it be? I don't actually know who backed it. But they've given Denis Villeneuve, the director, who did like Sicario and Arrival, and Prisoners. They've basically given him 200 million to make an art film, and it's just like, what? I mean, you think of 200 million pound films like the Marvel stuff. You put this against it, and you're like, well, what's he spent the money on? And it's ridiculous. It's a 2 hour 45-minute film. It's spectacle in abundance. Obviously, it's IMAX again. I don't want to get all poncy filmmakery here, but the cinematography is unbelievable. It just looks beautiful, and it's just got that somber kind of weird, kind of melancholic tone that the original had. And Ryan Gosling's absolutely fantastic. He's in his Drive mode in terms of that kind of, you know, what he's like in Drive, where it's just like gone and kind of, they're not too sure what to make of him. Is he going to kill someone anytime soon? The music is fantastic, as it would be from a Hans Zimmer. Is it Hans Zimmer? I think it is Hans Zimmer. Yeah, it is.
Something of it being Hans Zimmer. Yeah,
it definitely is. The soundtrack's fantastic, and in regards to for it being a Blade Runner sequel, it's all you can ask for. I saw it twice in the cinema. I can't wait to see it again. So that's number 2, and number 1. Now, a couple of years ago, Whiplash was my favorite film, which was the first kind of big film for Damien Chazelle, and obviously he made La La Land this year, and which is still my favorite film of the year. And I'm not a musical person at all, but people go, "Oh, it's a musical, it's crap," and I'm like,
I completely forgot about La La Land. Yeah, you're
but it's not
La La Land, aren't you?
I mean, it is a musical, but apart from like the opening 15 minutes where it is very kind of like Singing in the Rain influenced, it then kind of moves into this like melancholic romance story about a jazz musician and a kind of aspiring actress, which is Emma Stone, obviously, she won the Oscar. And it's a really beautiful film, and the soundtrack's really good. And it's the cool thing now when something's praised, which I'll go on to in a minute with Star Wars. When something
slag it off.
It's cool to slag it off and say, well, that's a load of crap.
And I've seen so much about Star Wars.
Yeah, we'll go on to that in a sec. Yeah. And it's a beautiful film, and the music's really good, and the songs are catchy. And I think Damien Chazelle, who directed it, is just a really interesting young director. His next film he's doing is about the moon landing, and it's also got Ryan Gosling in. I think he's playing Lance Armstrong. So I'm really excited about that. And La La Land started off pretty early as my best film of the year, and it still is my film of the year. So yeah, that's my top 6 plus an added couple.
Fair play. Well, where did Spider-Man come in there? Or did it even make it on there?
No, I think Star Wars and Thor didn't get in because out of all of them, I preferred Guardians. I thought Guardians. I liked Thor. I thought it was pretty like it was not really needed with everything that's happening. I understand the need for Black Panther the next year because obviously he's going to be in Infinity War anyway, even though he has turned up in Civil War. But I just didn't think Ragnarok was. It was good fun, but
just didn't fit.
Just didn't.
Fit in.
It didn't seem necessary. And then Spider-Man: Homecoming. I mean, it was a good film, but we've seen so much Spider-Man over the past kind of decade.
Well, we're going to see even more of him soon.
I know, it just didn't seem. Once again, didn't seem necessary. So Guardians, out of all of them, I mean, it had a cracking soundtrack, had a nice twisty plot about the villain. It had that kind of 80s retro punk style, which I loved about the first one. It's not as good as the first one, but it's the one I enjoyed out of all of them.
Fair play.
It's not the best superhero film of the year, because obviously that's Logan. But
yes, well, we may be seeing a revival of Logan at some point. I've heard talks about Tom Hardy filling in that role as well.
Really?
Yeah.
But he's playing Venom, isn't he?
I know, he's supposed to be playing Venom, but Venom is still under the guise of Sony at the moment. So this is talking about when it comes to Marvel, that he will actually be playing Venom, potentially. Wolverine. It's all kind of weird, but $52.4 billion?
What is? Oh,
for the whole, like Disney buying everything.
But that's just Disney, isn't it? I mean, they're just monopolizing the market.
Fucking bonkers. That means they I think it will mean that they have over like 45% of the world's media under one roof, which is a fucking terrifying prospect. But at least it's not that dickhead who actually owned Fox, who I cannot remember the name for the life of me. The old
it's Murdoch, isn't it?
Murdoch, yeah. As long as it's not under his control, I think I'll be a little bit more comfortable. But that's just like, Jesus Christ.
But then it's just gonna. I don't know whether the effect will wear off eventually, because you're just gonna get film after film after film.
It could completely kill Marvel. We could see the end of the sort of superhero films,
because they are doing it right. They are doing it. If you look at the DC universe,
they are doing it right, but
they're doing it wrong.
They are just going to sort of grind it into the ground. There's just going to be an influx, and there's going to be too much of it.
I think there already is too much. Not just Marvel. I think just the whole franchise genre in general. It
to
just
a
seems
degree,
to be.
yeah, to a degree. But
I mean, if you look at Iron Man, that kind of started this whole party. 2008, wasn't it? And then ever since then, because I think Marvel, it was only like, I think it began 1 a year or maybe 2 a year, and now it's like 3 a year. And if you're not a massive Marvel fan,
it's kind
and you go and watch, say, Infinity War, you'll be like, well, who the bloody hell's what's he doing? Who's that? Who's the purple guy who's now pink and doesn't have a helmet? And
oh yeah, I did find that kind of weird.
And it's just like,
it looks like a wrinkly thumb.
A wrinkly thumb, oh god.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But
I think what they're trying to do, I think, if you look at, because it's Russo brothers who are directing it, aren't they? And if you look at what they've done in the MCU already, they've grounded it and made arguably the two best Marvel films in the canon. I remember the first time I watched Winter Soldier, I was like, what is this? This is crazy. This is like action. This is like watching like a Michael Mann film or something. It's unbelievable. So I'm glad they're directing it. But yeah, a purple, now pink man. But hey.
Well,
we'll see.
Be interesting
it's a big one.
See. But I think we should quickly move on to sort of games because we're rapidly encroaching on our time. What?
Yeah, just do we ever have a time? It always seems to go off into the hour mark.
I just tried to keep it to 40 minutes, all right? It's nice and easy to manage like that, okay? So, game-wise, what have we played this year?
Next question.
I've got a
Not-
list. I've got a regular list, but I'm wondering what Dan has played this year.
Not much to be fair. I get in the habit of buying things and then not playing them for about 6 years. So
Dan
This
actually
game-
lives at the cinema.
yeah, exactly. And there's games I've bought like a couple of years ago that I've now played this year in order to get all the platinum trophies for.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got Resident Evil, but I haven't played it yet, and stuff like that. So I've got them, just haven't
Yeah,
played them.
I'm not going to lie. There's a couple on my list that I've got here that actually came out last year.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe even the year before that, like The Witcher 3. I played that this year.
Was Doom
Fuck
this year? Or was
me.
that last year?
Doom was last. Oh, actually, that was a couple of years back now because that came out with the release of the Xbox, I think.
Oh shit! Well, I'm miles off.
Yeah,
But I played that. That was good
that is-
fun.
that is a quality game. That is a ridiculously good game. And Overwatch, I still love that game to pieces.
Still getting bigger.
Still getting big. Yeah, it's just growing and growing and growing. It'll be interesting to see what sort of turn that takes this year. Wasn't really sold on the Walking Dead Telltale game this year either. It was alright. I didn't like the main character. We kind of moved away from Clementine, which was a really fucking poor decision. But we do have news that next year we're going to be starting off season 4, which is going to be the final season, and it's going to be with Clementine. You're going to play Clementine all the way through it, and then it'll be good night for that, which ain't half bad. Hopefully that comes out well. But what else? We've had South Park, the Fractured But Whole.
Fractured
Best
but
name ever.
who'd?
I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I agree with Josh. It wasn't the best out of the series, but it is good. It is good fun.
It scratches the itch.
Yeah, and there is some racial tensions within it that are
Well, that's
Shit.
just
pretty
mandatory
funny.
for a South Park game. To be fair, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but there's a certain monster that appears, which I'm not going to say on here for fear of being demonetized. But
I was gonna say it.
no. Which is that was like, wow, okay, we took it there. What
It
else?
seems so PC all the way through.
Yeah, it was sort of calm all the way through, and then it hit
I
that,
think
and it was like,
I think they opened
okay.
it up when the difficulty settings are bit.
oh well, the difficulty settings, yeah, that if you could start at very easy and be kind of white, Caucasian, and the further you went along the scale, the harder it got. So if you went
Oh,
from
no.
white to black, it was nigh on impossible. So that was a pretty funny. I don't know whether it actually affected gameplay though.
I think I'm very interested to see because obviously there is a scene where obviously the police are hunting black people.
Yeah. It would be quite interesting to see if there was some sort of change within that, like a story-based change. Other than that, we have Divinity 2: Original Sin. We've been playing a little bit of that, haven't we, Josh?
Yep, bit of that. That's not too
Yeah.
bad.
It's not so bad. We've really not got that far.
We'd like to do a bit more of that. That'd be quite fun.
It would be quite fun. Cuphead. I haven't completed it, but Cuphead is fan-fucking-tastic. That is probably my game of the year because it's just so good. It's fantastic. Shadow of Mordor, couldn't really give a damn about. I kind of jump into it every now and then. It just doesn't have the same feel as the first, and I think it's sort of similar to The Walking Dead there, where it's just I'm not feeling it. And PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, came out in early access earlier this year, and as of last week, I think it came out of early access completely and has now been released for Xbox. But I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that over the time, but it's another one of those games that will probably just fade off into obscurity and never be optimized by the devs. You never know. You never know. But that's literally all I can think of, apart from D&D, because
We went down that rabbit hole multiple
we
times
are
and still going down.
yeah, that is a that's certainly a spiral. I'm just looking at all the sheets of paper I have across my desk of character sheets, and then the books, and it's just like, oh, and the dice.
The dice. You can't
The
forget the dice.
dice. Yeah, can't forget the dice in the box. Yeah. So yeah, I'm well and truly down that. So if you want to get into D&D, Dan, you can. You can join us if you'd like.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
See,
we're
I know
well
myself.
into it. There is a load of videos that I still need to edit, but they'll go out on the channel at some point.
There's like a whole campaign you need to edit, isn't there? Like 2 campaigns.
No. Well, no, I've stored the previous half that we did with Simon, just in case we ever get back to that one. But likelihood is we're
I
not.
forgot about that one. Yeah, Jesus.
But yeah, I think I've got like a good 50 or so hours to dig through, maybe even more than that. In fact, probably more than that, which is kind of terrifying. But I will get through it at some point. I will dedicate some time over the holidays. Hopefully, we'll see those for next year, and it'll be kind of nice to revisit from the very beginning where it all started in the dungeons of the Drow, and me unnecessarily starting fights with the lady keeper, whatever her name was, who I can't remember now because it's been that long. But yeah. Has anyone else got anything to say? Any games that they would like to call out, or
No. Not that I can
No?
think of.
Josh? Anything?
But I think of a few now. Really, you've mentioned quite a few of them. To be honest, I mean, yeah, it's been taking up a lot of our time, isn't it? D&D, Divinity, Overwatch,
Oh,
PUBG.
there is one. There is one, technically not out, but I am bloody obsessed with it. It is Sea of Thieves. I've been playing the public, sorry, not the public test beta, the closed alpha this week, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like Pirates, not Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, it kind of is Pirates of the Caribbean, but really where I was going was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. We've got sailing mechanics, and it was just one of my favorite parts of that whole game as well. And it's literally just a game revolved about sailing the seas and finding treasure and killing skeletons and fighting other people at sea. It's just like, it is so much fun, and it's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come out. It comes out early next year, but I highly recommend, if you can, jump into the online beta or the insider program to try and get access before it actually comes out next year, to give it a go, because it comes out at 50 quid, which...
Holy shit! What?
Yeah, it's 50 quid. It's a bit debatable, or 39.
Holy fuckballs!
So it's between 39 and 49.99, and it's just like,
Would you
oh,
value
shit.
it as that after playing it so much and recommending it so highly?
It's like, I'm kind of
I think
obsessed with
games
being
in
on the
general
ocean
shouldn't
like that.
be rated that high at that price tag, but would
I
you
know
say
it is kind of debatable on that, but there's a lot more coming to it, and I've only just seen a very small portion of it. And I just literally, I could spend hours just sailing the sea like a fucking dickhead. I'm sure I'll be able to max out my hours on it, like get £1 an hour for it, fine. I think I could find the worth in it. I don't know whether other people can. So
I mean,
it'd be
we played it during EGX.
Yeah. And as a group, it's great fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'd value playing that at a full-time full-time thing is £40, but 50 quid.
Yeah.
I've got to pump out hours to make it worthwhile. I mean, that's got to be at least a year's worth of gaming. That should be.
It's got to be a fair few hours, yeah. But I'm kind of optimistic. It seems like the devs are actually giving a shit, which is kind of nice. But
Well, that's always nice. As long as they're giving a shit, that's all we care about.
yeah.
Not releasing an unfinished game. I'm looking at you, PUBG. I'm looking at you, Ark.
Yeah, we've been burned by that a few times, haven't we?
So many times. Did you see they released a new expansion thing recently, Ark?
Oh yes, yeah, I did. They couldn't give a shit about it.
Another 30 quid. Giving you
Yeah.
money.
It's like, no, thank you. But
2 years ago, they used to be in the top 10.
that was literally the top game of the year.
It was, yeah.
And
Oh, how things change.
how things have changed, how quickly it devolved into a pile of shite.
Devolved. I like that.
Fuck off. That's fine. Well, thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you for 2017. And thank you for looking after my website, Stan. It's been fantastic not doing any work.
It's been emotional.
So where's our Christmas bonus?
Where's your Christmas bonus?
Yep.
When the website starts to earn money, fine.
Cool.
But or the YouTube, either one. But yeah, hopefully next year we'll have a talk amongst ourselves anyway about ideas or things we want to do. But
Hey
hopefully
guys,
next
how
year
about,
we
how
can...
about we show our faces next time versus Super
Oh
Special?
God!
Oh, my
Oh my
The
word!
internet's not ready for that.
Yeah, the
It's
internet's
just-
not ready for you, Josh.
No, never is.
No,
Voice
it's bad
only,
enough.
face
It's bad
wise.
enough in the vlogs, really.
Viral anti. What's the version of antiviral? Is there a extinction?
Extinction, disease,
Extinction,
plague.
that's it. Plague.
Right. Well, thank you very
Yellow
much.
death.
If you enjoyed this one, be sure to like and subscribe and tune in for hopefully a good year ahead. Catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.